Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. I'm just going to do a handover video on this AutoExplore. It is a brand new conversion, 72 plate, and this particular one is based on the Peugeot Boxer chassis. As I said, 72 plate. I think it's done 600 miles since it was new, just from sort of delivery. But yeah, absolutely lovely vehicle. Really straight, you know, no marks or dents or anything like that. Lovely paintwork. I have fitted this Fiamma F80S awning to the motorhome as well, the longest one that would fit on this particular one. And you see there I fitted the F80 so that it's up on the roof like that, nicely tucked away. So what I'll do is I'm going to start around on the outside. I think what I'll do is I'll start under the bonnet, and then we'll work our way around the outside, and then I'll go through the inside afterwards. So under the bonnet, we've got all of your sort of refillable fluids over on the left hand side. So we've got washer fluid down here, power steering fluid just here, engine coolant is the pink stuff there, brake fluid, and your engine oil just down here on the top of the engine. Engine oil dipstick is this little one down here. And to get to these fluids, to actually top them up, the power steering fluid and the coolant, you have to take this little cover off just here. That'll give you access to the top of those. You've then got 549 is basically the Peugeot colour, if you ever needed any touch-up paints. The engine battery in these cabs sits under the floor just in front of the passenger seat. So if you need to jump start the van, they do give you a positive terminal just underneath this little cover here, and a negative terminal or an earthing point just here, and it does say there only for jump start. So chassis plate just here. And the only other thing is that the fuel pump, or sorry, the fuel filter is over here on the right hand side. So just inside the passenger door, we've got the bonnet release handle just there. The swivel seat base is just in by using this little red handle. Basically just push it down and then the swivel seat will work. Just behind the passenger door, you've got the fuel filling point. You do have to think about AdBlue in this particular one, so you can undo that from the bottom one there. A lot of petrol stations nowadays just have that on tap as well, but that's where your diesel goes in basically. So step comes in and out with this little switch just here, working really nicely. And underneath, on the near side here, we've got this, which is the wastewater drain off point. Now, it does tell you that on the little sticker above it, but that is where you drain out your wastewater. So it's an RL model, which means rear lounge. And as you can see there, two really good sized long sofas, which do just pull together in the middle to make a massive double bed. Furnishings in this particular vehicle are, you know, really impressed with. The quality of all the cushions and, you know, the materials that they've used are absolutely fantastic. So even down to little things like the whole ceiling's been carpeted, all really good for insulation. And a lot of sort of companies nowadays that are doing these kind of panel van conversions like this really don't go that extra mile, that I've found really, but this one really has, so well impressed with it. So we've got the twin reversing camera up there, which I've also fitted very recently, just whilst it was in here whilst we're doing the hab check, so that's new as well. So we've got that and the awning both in black so that it would kind of match the body style and bits and pieces like that, but that's there. So you've got one camera facing straight back so you can see it as a rear view mirror, and one facing straight down so you can really reverse right up to things and see how far you've got. So if I carry on to the offside now, on the rear bumper section, we've got the hookup point. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, really helpful to have plugged in, because it will basically do a few things. It will give you access to using any of your 240 volt appliances. It will also switch your battery charger straight on, so your leisure battery will be being charged up all the time. And it just means that you don't have to worry about anything. There is a solar panel on this particular vehicle, and it is a duo controller, which I'll show you that in a minute. But having the hookup cable plugged in really means that you just do not have to worry about the voltage at all at any time, because all the time that's plugged in, you're at full power. Down here we've got the blue drain off point, which is your freshwater drain. So freshwater draining off point just there from the blue, and we've got the Truma boiler vent just there. Your freshwater filling point is this one just here. You have got a new set of keys for that. And your toilet cassette locker is this one. So if I just press both the buttons in at the same time, that then releases this out. Okay, we'll tuck that up out of the way in a minute. So basically, to actually use the toilet cassette, very simple. You just have to get the cap for that. But as you can probably see there, what I did, you've got a little green tab here. So you lift that up, and then you can pull the cassette all the way out. You drain it out from this point just here. And when you are draining it out, you should be holding down the little green button there. You do also, in this particular case, have a separate flush fluid reservoir as well. So if you want to fill this flush fluid up, you just literally undo this and then top it up as and when you need to with the pink mixed fluid. You've then got an indicator level for that, for the flush fluid. So keep that anywhere between where it is now and the middle, and that'll basically keep you topped up with the flush fluid at all times. So I will make sure there's a cap on that before collection. So we've got various, I'll just chuck that out of the way, various keys here. So because it's new, it's all just, you know, in its original state. So these are all the keys that you're ever going to need, you know, a main set and a spare set. So I'll just chuck all the keys just there for a minute. So the cab itself in here is absolutely brilliant, super high spec. So you've got the 6-speed manual gearbox, you've got the steering wheel functionality on this one, you've got the cruise control stalk on the bottom left hand side, air conditioning from the button just there in the middle between the two dials, hazard warning lights, lock and unlock the cab, and then you've got a load of 12 volt sockets and USB points over there on the left. I believe there is also, yeah, USBs in here as well, or one USB. You've got the electric adjusting mirrors from this little switch just here. And of course you've got your center screen just here as well. So the reversing camera, if I just pop the ignition on, so I've wired it up to an ignition live cable. So at the moment, it shouldn't do anything at all. All right, so it's completely off. And it's only going to start working when I turn the ignition on. And the reason we want to do that is because if you ever forget to switch this off, assuming that you turn the ignition off, this will turn off as well. So, you know, you can't accidentally drain the battery out with it, because when you turn the ignition off, it will turn off. So if I just put ignition on now, there you go. So that there's the camera facing straight down. All right, so if I press AV, it changes over to the camera that looks straight back. Easy as that. And then, as I said, when I turn the ignition off now, screen goes off with it. So that's how that's been wired up. As I said, that should save you from ever running out of, you know, draining the battery out from it. But yeah. Right, so I'm just going to hop out and get round so I can show you around on the inside. So, good thing to point out is that when you put the ignition on in this particular vehicle, the step will go in automatically, just in case you forget to put that in before you head off. This brown box just down here, it'll probably be somewhere neater than this when you collect the vehicle, but this is all of the gubbins for the awning. So that'll have your awning winder, some pegs, and a few just extra bits and pieces that they send out with it. So we'll leave them all in there for you. Only other thing is as well that the remote for the camera screen is that one just there in the little sort of cubby hole there. It's really easy just to use it by pressing the button on the screen, but if you don't want to do that, you have got a little remote for that as well. So the main control panel is just here to your left as soon as you walk in the vehicle. Now I absolutely love these control panels. I don't think I've ever had a problem with one of these, and they are just super easy to use. So what you've got is a main on and off switch here on the left hand side, which, as you can probably imagine, just literally turns it on. You've then got two little up and down buttons on the left, so these are quite important. So these two buttons here basically allow you to see all of your battery voltages, water levels, and just all the stuff that you need to keep on top of, basically. So if we just go up, so you've got the leisure battery voltage 12.3, that's absolutely fine. Vehicle battery voltage 12.4, also good. Internal temperature, fresh water level, wastewater level, and then all your settings. So that'll be for setting a timer, the date, and all that sort of stuff. All right, so that'll take us back to the beginning. You've then got a water pump switch. So now pump on. Internal lights, which I've got on already, and external lights, so your awning light. So that is that one just there. All right, so that's how you do that. That's all the control panel. That really is all there is to it. So what I'm going to do quickly now is going to be basically the first thing you're going to want to do if you want to come in and start using the hot water and the heating and all that sort of stuff. There is just this one thing that you need to check on. So if you just flick through the levels again, check that we've got fresh water, which we do. So we've got half a tank of fresh water. I'll then turn the pump on, and then all you need to do is come over to the tap here, pull the tap on the cold. So we've got good pressure coming through there. It's not coughing and spluttering at me, so I'm happy with that. We're up to pressure on the cold. Over to the left for the hot side. A little bit of air coming through. And then we can switch that off. All right, so doing that, what I've just done there, proves to us that the boiler has got water in it and that it's full. If the boiler, I'll just plunge that a few times. If the boiler, for whatever reason, wasn't full of water yet, then you wouldn't get any water coming through that tap on the hot side. Okay, so basically what that means is, because you've got a boiler drain, and it's really important to make sure that you drain the boiler out over winter and stuff like that, but because you've got a boiler drain, you need to make sure that you do that first. Before you start trying to light the boiler up and get the water hot, you do have to make sure that there's actually water in the boiler first. If you light the boiler up on hot water and all that sort of stuff when there's nothing in it, it will more than likely overheat and you'll start to get problems like that. So doing what I've just done there proves to us that the boiler is full. Now the only reason that your boiler shouldn't have a full tank of water is if you've drained it out, which, if I just show you, is this little yellow handle down here. So this is a bit more of an old school way of doing it. Nowadays they tend to have this electronic drain off valves that sort of drop out automatically for you when it gets to a certain temperature, but these ones are a hell of a lot well, I say better, but they're just less of a pain, basically. So you do have to remember to drain this one out yourself, but on the other hand, it won't just drain off at random times when you don't want it to. So that's the big plus side to it. The majority of customers' questions for us, as a engineer for the motorhomes, is why is the water draining out of the boiler all the time? And it's normally because they've got the electronic drain off valves and they don't know where it is. So in this particular case, you've literally got a yellow handle here, which, if laid down flat like it is now, is not going to drain any water out, and it's full up. And if you lift it upright so it's vertical, it will drain all the water out from inside the boiler, and then you have to refill it again, you know, put it back down again and refill it before you can get water through the tap. So that's why you just need to check that you've got water coming through the tap there. Once you've done that, you can forget about it and use the boiler however you want to. So if we stay on the topic of the boiler, I suppose it's probably the easiest way. We've then got this Truma iNet Ready boiler controller. Okay, so this is how we use the boiler. This is the heating and the hot water, and you can either use it on gas or electric. So if I just run you through how this works. So just above it here, we've got this, which is your Truma thermostat. All right, so this is the thermostat that's telling the boiler what temperature it is inside the vehicle. So what we've got, when we press this button just here, it brings up this sort of menu screen, okay? And it's hovering over whichever one it's sort of, you know, you're about to click on. So it will start flashing at you. Whichever one is flashing is the one that you're hovering over. So at the moment, this one here on the left is heating, all right? Because you've got a caravan with a temperature gauge in it. So if I press on that, the heating at the moment is completely off because I don't really want it on. If I wanted it to come on, all I have to do is turn the temperature all the way up so it's above the temperature that this is reading, and then we'll get this little flame symbol up here. So now the heating is on. The next one next door to that, this one here, is your hot water. So if I click on that one, I've currently got it on Eco. I can select Eco, Hot, or Boost. All right, so for the moment, I'm gonna leave it on Eco. So we've got heating and hot water, and as I say, you just have to sort of tell that manually what you wanted to do. The next one over, this one just here, is gas or electric, or both. So if I just, so you've got gas, mix 1, mix 2, electric 1, or electric 2. So for the minute, I've only got the gas on, so I can't actually use it on electric anyway. So, you know, that's the only way we can use it, essentially. So I'm just going to turn that heating off because it's quite warm in here anyway. So, as I say, at the moment, I've only got the gas on, so, you know, I'm just going to leave it on gas. If I had electric plugged into the vehicle, so if I had hookup plugged in, I could select mix 1 or mix 2, which is basically a mixture of electric and gas, either at 4 amps electric or 8 amps. Or if I had the electric hookup plugged in and I didn't want to use the gas at all, I could use electric 1 or electric 2, which is the same as the mix. It's just either 4 or 8 amps. So that is how you select which energy, and it does tell you all the time that you've got something on. It does tell you at the moment we're on gas only, which is what that symbol there is. The last one over here on the right hand side, this is the fan speed. Now this isn't coming on at the moment because I haven't got the heating on now. Okay, so if I had the heating on, I could click that and I could scroll through basically and select how fast I wanted the fan to run. So that is super easy how to use that. And you know, like I say, if it is cold enough that you wanted to use the heating, click on this one, set your temperature, easy as that. Hot water, Eco, Hot or Boost. Turn that off now. Energy selector and fan. You have then also got, as you probably saw there, I accidentally clicked on it a minute ago, you can set timers, you can set the clock, and then you can go into the settings, but you don't need to do that. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. That is your heating and hot water system. These Truma iNet Ready systems are becoming more and more popular and being used more and more in a lot, especially smaller vehicles, as I've found. But there you go. Right, so I'll just show you through the bathroom because it is right here. We've got the light at the top here, which is a sensor light. So you saw probably there, it came on as I opened the door up, which is quite cool. Hot and cold tap here for the sink. You will probably notice that there's no drain in the sink. That's because the water drains are in each corner at the back of this unit. So when you lift this up, it pulls away down the sides and goes down the drain into the waste tank like that. The toilet itself is very, very simple, but it is normally the only bit that I actually sort of explain, if you like. Oh, there you go. Bung for that, it's just here. So that's the cap for the end of the cassette. So what you've got is a blue button here on the left-hand side, which pumps around your flush fluid, and then a handle here which you pull towards you to drain it out into the cassette. You just need to make sure that you close that handle back over again, otherwise you will be locked in position and you won't be able to. This hasn't been used, by the way, just so you know why I'm chucking these things in. So yeah, so make sure that you close that flap back over again before you try and take the cassette out from outside, because it will be locked in position. Okay, so the sort of appliances that we've got in this vehicle are sort of high spec stuff as well. So we've got the 3-burner hob at the top here. This is a Thetford triplex or triplex, however you say that, system. And as you can see there, we've got ignition just here and the valves with the little diagram telling you which one does which. We've then also got, I'm not going to light it up because we've got some stuff in here, but you've got the gas oven and grill as well. So pushing in and round to the right gets us to turn the grill on, in and round to the left turns on the oven, obviously still with the ignition. So that is the hob. Sink is just in there. Now the fridge, this is a 12-volt fridge, so it's a compressor fridge basically, and the switch to turn that on and off is this switch just here. All right, so basically all you have to know about, or we have to think about, is that you've got the switch up there and that you've got a temperature gauge just inside here. As you can see, it's set to about 5 at the moment, but you can adjust that however you need to. The extra bits and pieces that you may or may not need are in here as well. Little freezer compartment up there. But yeah, so this is a 12-volt fridge, and these fridges get so cold so quickly. You know, the fact that it hasn't got gas as a way of using it can be a little bit of a downside if you're sort of really wild camping, but in this case you've got the solar panel on the roof, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But switch up there and these fridges just get so much colder so much quicker than the 3-way fridges, so it's a bit of a bonus in a way. So we've got some storage, not much, but a little bit of storage here underneath the sink, and it also gives you access to the sink if there was ever an issue with it in the future. We've then got these 2 lockers down here. I'm not going to show you into the right hand one because I already have. That's just where the boiler and the boiler drain is. But this one here on the left is your gas locker. So this is a fully metal lined gas locker with a seal around the outside to stop any gas from being able to go out of the container. You have also got the dropout point at the bottom as well, so if the gas bottle was to leak, because gas, or this sort of LPG, is heavier than air, it will drop down to the bottom and go out through that dropout vent at the floor. To turn the bottle on, you go anti-clockwise round to the left, turns it on. It does tell you that on this little diagram here, and you've also got a reset button just in case you ever needed to do that. But yeah, anti-clockwise round to the left turns it on, and clockwise all the way down to the right turns it off. So I'm just going to leave that on for a minute because I've got a couple of bits on already. So in the main wardrobe, I'll just show you a few bits. So we've got the TV aerial just there, which is a manual tilt and turn TV aerial, and your TV aerial booster over there. All right, so all the time that you want to use your TV, you do have to have that TV aerial booster switched on, otherwise you won't get a decent signal. The original box for the TV is this one just here, and all of your paperwork is in this brown folder here. The little bolts that you can see here is because I had to fit the TV bracket just on the other side of that, so not much you can do about that, I'm afraid, but hopefully that won't bother you too much. But that's what that is. Space for hanging some clothes up in there. But the thing that I really want to show you, just in case you, you know, I mean, we're inside at the moment, right? So it's going to be difficult to get hold of a decent signal normally. I also haven't actually lifted up or moved the TV aerial itself, all right? But I just wanted to show you something. I did it a minute ago just to check it was going to come on. Bearing in mind we're inside, turn the TV on, and I literally had signal straight away. All I've done is turn the booster on. Well done. There you go. So I mean, I think the fact that we're inside, under, you know, we're literally inside. I haven't even moved the TV aerial, but all I've done is turn the booster on, and we're getting a perfect signal here. Means that the whole, you know, that whole sort of aerial system that you've got on here is absolutely fantastic, working really, really well. So that is the TV. The remote for it is just there. It is a 12 volt or a 240 volt TV. So just down here behind the telly, you can see there I've got it plugged into the 12 volt socket and the TV socket for the aerial signal. But if you did have the hookup plugged in and you wanted to use it on the mains instead, there is also an adapter to use it on the mains underneath there as well. Wheel lock just there, Milenko. What else have we got? So the solar controller is this one here, PV Logic. So again, I mean, you don't actually have to do anything with this, all right? You don't have to press any buttons on it. It's literally doing its own thing anyway. All you need to know really is that it's a duo controller. So we've got one set of cables, so the blue and the white one here going off to one battery, and the other two cables here on the right going off to another. So that'll be the engine and the leisure. All right. These two here on the left-hand side, the red and the black ones, are the ones that are coming down from the solar panel, but really neatly tucked away through this little hole here from factory. But yeah, the only thing you really need to know about it is that you've got these different color lights. So if it's red and sort of steady there, it means that the batteries are nearly empty. Yellow steady means that they're a bit low. Green steady means normal, and green flashing means full. So if you're outside on a really sunny day, you're probably going to have full on there. But as I said a minute ago, you can actually see all of your battery voltages on the solar, on the main controller up there. But that's where the solar comes down to in there. Showing you the boiler controls. There is the Russell Hobbs microwave up here, again brand new, never been used. That will only work when the hookup is plugged in, all right, because that's a mains appliance. Same goes for the 240 volt sockets there. These ones here, these will only work when the hookup's plugged in. Just turn the fridge off now. And the only other thing I want to show you just briefly is going to be this cupboard down here underneath the oven. And basically just because we've got these two gas isolators here. So the one on the left does the boiler, the one on the right does your cooker and hobs. They are the only two gas appliances in the van. So there are your two gas isolators. So basically the idea behind that is if you were, you know, away somewhere and you thought, oh, I think there's a gas leak coming from the oven or from the grill or from the hob or something, then you can isolate the gas from this appliance here and still have it going to the boiler. All right, so hopefully that will never happen, but that's why they're there. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, I really have been quite well surprised by this vehicle. I mean, like I said before, I've fitted quite a few appliances to, you know, like the awning, the reversing camera, the TV, all that sort of stuff. It's all gone on absolutely lovely. The build quality in here is brilliant. So yeah, I can't fault it at all, to be fair. So I think I have covered everything. If there's anything you think I've missed out or anything you want going over again, just let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.